Let's welcome everybody in. The real Kyper and Bourne show. NHL All-Star Week officially begun. We're squeaking in a few National Hockey League games, not many, till everybody shuts it down. For the Toronto Maple Leafs hosting the NHL All-Star Weekend. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Mr. Mom this weekend.
I was, man. First off, let me just say I love that little sweater, long sleeve polo thing you got going on today.
Really?
Really nice, yeah.
This old thing?
I complimented him on him, too. I thought it looked good.
I like that.
And I was under the impression that it's too old. It can't make a comeback.
Buddy, you may have had it long enough that it circled around and it's cool again. I really like it.
All right, we got clumsy Sammy McKee back.
Not clumsy. I'm all good today.
You're good today?
Yeah. I am coming off the weekend, the really nice win for the Leafs, but I can't help but think about our poor friends in Detroit and that loss they had to the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay, we're going to jump into a ton of hockey here, but we got all week, so we're
into this here.
let's pace ourselves here by just discussing a little bit the magic of the Detroit Lions and the feel of destinies on their side to go back to a Super Bowl, which they've been once. Have they? Or the
Detroit?
Lions?
I don't think so.
They've
never been?
They've won they won the championship, but it was pre-Super Bowl.
50s.
Yeah, 50s. It was before the Super Bowl existed.
All right. So halftime, everything's looking great.
Yeah.
Campbell, who they hyped up beyond belief, right? He was a major story coming into this game.
Yes.
Just a wall.
And then he ends up being a major story coming out of this game for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not going to get too deep into the narratives here, but, you stick with your gut. You are who you are. You got to that point by being aggressive. But all that goes out the window when you kick the field goal at the end of the first half. Because usually they would go for that, so they kind of changed their thought process there. But then they don't do it in the second half, and it seems like it's all over the place. Some bad calls, some bad drops, some bad fumbles. And they just blew it. And they were right there.
Did anyone think Detroit and Buffalo were going to find their way through in the end? I mean, listen, it'll happen eventually, I'm sure. But it just feels like the NFL, the way it's going, Kansas City and the 49ers, boy. On
the other side of it, I just want to put out just don't bet against Patrick Mahomes.
Right. That's smart.
And I feel bad for Lamar.
Did you bet on Mahomes this weekend? Yeah.
We can talk about that in game notes. Okay. Or what's it called?
Sammy did well.
What's it called?
Game time.
No, I said game notes. I don't know.
We'll find out about your game time.
Isn't that Colby's podcast? Anyways, I feel bad for Lamar because he's taken a beating today. The narrative train is out of control, but many a good man have gone down to old Patrick.
Yes. And
many
men will.
The only people who've beat him, it's Tom Brady twice, and Joe Burrow beat him once, and he's the rest of his games he's ever played.
Lamar's the MVP this year, right?
Yeah.
So he's best player during the regular season.
Yeah.
But just can't
Can you make
get
a
it
hockey
done.
comparison here?
Lamar, if you will.
It's just, but doesn't know how to get his team to win when he needs it the most. And Patrick does.
Again, I was Mr. Mom. I watched 19 seconds of it. I did see the highlights, but yeah.
Me and Kyper were beat up watching every second. This guy's at gymnastics.
I wasn't my wife. Yeah, I was at Epic Planet Fun when you guys were texting about it. My wife was on Long Island watching. They had a bit of a Clark Gillies Foundation night.
Nice.
Watched the Islanders play. Thanks for their hospitality. My mom was actually there.
Your invite get lost?
Well, I'm not saying just saying, but someone has to look after things on the home front.
We're glad you made it in on Monday, all in one piece.
I'm alive.
They didn't ruin you.
No hand, foot, and mouth or pink eye. It's a miracle.
Well, we're glad you're here. We're glad everybody's aboard on Sportsnet 590, Sportsnet 360, and Sportsnet Plus from 4 to 6, and wherever you get your podcasts. When we had been at the midweek point before Wednesday's game, we gave a lot of, I guess, a lot into the next two games in terms of maybe a bit of a fork in the road for the Leafs. They managed to get 4 out of 4 points.
I think I may have even made fun of the idea that they might do that.
And here we are, and mission accomplished just in terms of maximizing their return. And for that, we applaud them. For sure, because no easy task. One of the top teams all season long, the Winnipeg Jets. And kind of calms things at least going into All-Star week. You know, we also mentioned if it got ugly towards the finish prior to it, maybe a lot of questions go into All-Star week, but give them credit, man. They calmed the waters down.
Yeah, and really flipped every negative sort of storyline upside down. It was Ilya Samsonov is, this guy going to the AHL or the ECHL. Mm-hmm. It's Ryan Reaves. Where are they sending this guy to suddenly help? Well, Tyler Bertuzzi, I thought, played a really good game. A lot of the question marks we had, now not all of them, but a lot of the question marks we had, they played well at a time they're going into a break here.
Yeah, like we joked about it on.
By the way, I wasn't even through that sentence, and I get to see Kip going.
Well, we joked about it on Leafs Talk that this was supposed to be like narrative week.
Well,
and every narrative just got slapped in the face. It's like the power play all of a sudden comes through. Yeah. Ryan Reaves comes off the bench and scores a goal. Yeah. It's like all the stuff that was bad, all is good now. It's all good.
For a whole week of shows, we have positive.
I'm the Godfather meme. Just when I thought it was out, they pull me back in. That's me.
So I'll throw this to both of you. Did they answer some questions or did they delay some questions?
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
Wow, you're good at this.
Well, it certainly things like Ryan Reaves, is a great example of someone who, in the perfect world of Ryan Reaves, that's what he does. He plays 7 minutes. He's in front of the net, causes a turnover. He's in someone's face. You love it. Now, do I think Ryan Reaves can do that 40 straight times now or whatever the rest of the season is? No.
No, but will he get an opportunity to do it for the next 40 games?
He might get an opportunity to do it 2 or 3 more times.
Like, was Ryan Reaves enough for you to say, yes, you got your job back on the fourth line?
No, not. But that's it. If anything, kind of created a problem, because I see your point where it's like, I don't think that this is going to be like it's fixed and now he's just back. But you also can't have a guy come in and do exactly what you gave him a 3-year contract to do and then send him to the minors.
Yeah.
So you got to give him another run now.
And Yarncroc, we learned, is out for some time. Yeah. Like, it's a broken hand. I'm not.
Knuckle, yeah.
Or knuckle. I'm not a doctor. But I feel like that's, 4-week injury? Yeah. 5-week injury? Like, that's
3 or 4, yeah.
Oh, okay. It's a substantial amount of time where, I guess maybe Bobby McMahon's IR'd and he feels a little better now that Yarncroc's out of the lineup and he doesn't have to go down to the minors. Mm. But it does kind of feel like you're back to where it's going to be it's going to be McMahon and Reaves going in and out for each other.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, just, we get caught up in the day-to-day of this team. As a singular moment for Reaves, Saturday was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, it really was.
Oh, how can it not be, right?
Yeah.
Because here's a guy that came in with a ton of hype, and first week, 10 days, it was great hype, and he managed to get into a couple of fights, and it was looking real good for him for a full season. And then, as we know, he fell off.
I think, and I've said this before on the show, that I don't believe that a lot of enforcers who are later in their careers, Reaves is 36 or 37, I don't think he wants to fight all the time. And I kind of feel like he thought if he went out and fought a couple times early and set the tone, let people know I won't have to. And then he didn't fight for 20 games.
Yeah.
And that's not what they paid him to be.
And that's the danger of anybody 35, 40, especially in that role. And I kind of went through it too, but at a younger age where you're like, okay, how much do I need to do? How often do I need to do it? How much can I fake it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
without putting myself in a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
When he's been out for a month and you've had 4 or 5 weeks to prepare the next game in your head,
you're fighting. Or
I'm just saying that you can be at your very best. Okay. And he's also, he worked hard. I mean, he did everything that they wanted him to do. His hands were better last night, right? Because he's been handling the puck for a month.
Yeah, the best
every
play
day
of the goal is the turnover he creates on the goal, right? He's hard on the forecheck.
Yeah, he chased down Josh Morrissey and wins a battle, gets to the front of the net, and tips one home.
Pretty wonderful.
But when you've got 2-3 weeks to think about your next game and prepare for your next game. That's a big difference than what you had mentioned earlier, just being complacent about knowing you're going to go in the lineup. And if you don't get noticed in this game, that's all right. There's the next game.
I wonder if, the reminder he would have given the team and everyone about what he can be at his best is enough to keep him not in all the time, but as someone who's the 13th guy who goes in once every third game,
I think there's a place for that.
Yeah. It's funny, one game and just 7 or 8 minutes of ice time, but you can kind of squint and go, that's what it could look like.
Yeah, and I think it has to be said that he was off for a month and was seemingly healthy for, 2 weeks of that? Like, he's been on the ice with all the skills guys. He's been working with his,
yes.
And he's been off.
Yeah.
But you start getting into the regular rhythm of hockey games where you're playing 2 or 3 times a week. He's maybe playing once a week, twice a week.
Heavy legs.
It's going to flip pretty quickly. So as a singular moment, it's awesome, but I don't want to make it have a bigger, there's still a chance he ends up with waivers. Anyways.
Okay, let's go to Sheldon Keefe on Ryan Reaves.
Well, love the goal, obviously. Well, first he creates that possession for us by just really pushing the pace up the ice and putting some pressure on them, creates a turnover and gets us on offense. And then he's at the net, which was a clear plan of ours tonight, was to be around that space. And Gregor puts the puck there and gets a stick on it and get rewarded. So, yeah, huge moment in the game, obviously, to not allow them to build much of a lead and to get us all square there in the first period. But, yeah, Revo, I thought, gave us lots here tonight. He had lots of energy, he's physical, defensively was really good. So, yeah, I liked that line here tonight.
Well, he liked it enough that he would put him on the ice at a critical time. There was a minute left in the period, and I know a lot of coaches that wouldn't have put Ryan Reaves on with a minute left to go.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember the play inside their own zone before his goal, but Gregor had the puck along the wall, and Morrissey came in and absolutely smoked him.
Lit him up pretty good.
And then they had lost the battle along the wall, and it goes back to Pionk, who absolutely hits a rocket right down the middle, and he missed the net.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
if it goes in,
92, 95 mile an hour slap shot goes in, and they go up 2-0, and Ryan Reaves is on the ice in the last minute.
We're talking different today.
We're talking different today.
It's so funny because that's career changing for him, right? If he's an early dash in that moment, and they can't use him, and
That's
you
right.
already couldn't use him, and you go, you know what are we doing? Maybe that's the end. But that's when your career's at the very
fine line here.
It's a game inches, boys.
Yeah.
What, 10 seconds later, he's down redirecting a beautiful, beautiful redirect.
Yeah, shot going wide, he pulls across the body.
And now it's a different story.
Now we're like, you can use this guy. Get him in.
But good on him anyways.
I thought a noteworthy piece of Sheldon's clip there was he says that, we're on top of the net, which is a clear part of our game plan last night, which shows up in the Tyler Bertuzzi no-goal call. You guys want to do that part yet?
Not yet. Not yet.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, we'll get there. I just want to get, before we kick in all of that, let's just get Sheldon's overall feeling of beating the Winnipeg Jets.
Both games require a lot, require a lot of work, a lot of perseverance and commitment, all those kind of things. But, in this game here tonight in particular, I just thought we were really good in lots of areas. 5-on-5, power play, penalty kill, goaltending, depth scoring. Revo gets us going there. So, yeah, lots of really good things here tonight. So it's a great way to finish this off and go into the break.
There we go. Positive stuff.
All right.
Go Leafs, go.
It's wide open for you, Sammy. Where do you want to go first? Because there were a couple of major storylines here, including Tavares scoring a goal.
Yeah.
Disallowed goals. Samsonov. Where do you want to go?
I don't like to do officiating, but something that's happened in a hockey game that I've never seen before, and I wanted to talk about it with you guys. Mm-hmm. When Tavares got his stick slashed in front of the net when they're already in the power play, and then he broke the stick and showed it to the ref, and then he put the arm up, I was dumbfounded. I could not believe that happened.
Truly An embarrassing moment for the official.
Completely.
Yeah.
Kyper, what do you think about that?
I think it's probably the right call, but just the wrong way to get there.
Yeah, like he should make the call when he sees the slash if he thinks it's a slash.
You have to make the call, but
can't call the result.
There's also that leeway where there is a buffer zone between seeing an infraction, letting the referee absorb it,
and
then
deciding.
Sometimes it's a split second, sometimes it's half a second, and in a hockey game, it can feel like a very long time, but there is a window.
You're right in that it was probably 1.32 seconds after, but it was like a visible.
This one really, really looked bad because it looks like that I cannot form a judgment or opinion on my own on just the incident. And there's no rule that says a stick has to be broken to call a penalty. So all you've done is made it look like that is part and a big part of your decision and not your original thought on the incident on itself.
I'm a big intent, not results guy. Like I always hate the idea that sometimes, part of battling for a puck is lifting a stick, it's slashing a stick. That's part of the puck battle. Yeah. And I hate that when a guy's stick breaks, it's like, that's penalty. It's like, it wasn't if he used a better stick, but in this case, I mean,
especially to put him up on a 5-on-3.
I don't know where the stick is at.
The game.
Like, I don't know if it's
already compromised.
Maybe could have been chipped out of it already.
Could be just a crap load of sticks that you got off the last batch,
and that happens,
right?
So to me, that in part and parcel, I thought the refereeing in that game. I don't really ever notice the officiating. I don't really ever talk about it, but I thought it was a little bit sketchy. So I thought that non-goal call specifically was just super sketchy.
Imagine now that call in a playoff game. God. Like the ridicule that the referee will get because you need John Tavares to come and state his case with a broken stick to you, and then you decide if it's a penalty or not.
It's almost like they were given one back after the no goal call that they felt. I don't know. So let's try not to spend too much time on it. But the no goal play, Willie Nylander is on top of the goalie after is it DeMello who pushes him in?
I'm okay with the call.
Oh, I hate that.
I knew you were going to do that.
I was just hoping we wouldn't have to do it, but let's go. Let's go.
I'm okay with the call.
How can you be okay with it?
You know what? I'm gonna play goalie. I'm gonna play a goalie union card here.
Yeah.
It's Nylander comes out of the corner, and he uses some of the blue paint.
He does
to get. And when you're in that area, man, you're flying very close to the sun there. Mm-hmm. And the whole idea for the goalie, especially in his blue paint, is that he needs a chance to play any angle, any shot.
Yeah.
And Nylander took that away from him.
Yeah, but he didn't. He did. No, he didn't, Kip. No. He comes from the corner, so he comes through the blue paint, which is, I've seen Mike McKenna online being like, he entered a free will. Mike, I love you, but ridiculous.
But aren't you allowed?
You're allowed to be in there.
1996.
And
you're
so he goes,
of
course you're allowed to be in there.
Mike goes, he doesn't leave the blue paint. He can't because DeMello's there. And by the way, he doesn't leave the blue paint as like Brett Hall in the crease, like millimeter of a toe.
There was contact between Nylander and Hellebuck before the cross-check. There's contact.
Okay, well, that's fine. But
it's not.
Yes, it is okay because the goalie. Yes, the goalie is allowed to reset after contact, and he has plenty of time to reset after that.
No, he got. There was contact, and once
he might have breathed in his ear.
Once you establish there, I can't come out now and challenge any shooter I want. You're impeding the decision of the referee was made before the cross check. The Leafs challenged on the cross check. And the decision from the official to call incidental goaltender interference was made before. That's why they lost the challenge.
That's the softest baby garbage call I've ever seen then. Because he's on his way through and he's trying to get out, and DeMello's there. He's got nowhere to go. He's entitled to that area as much as DeMello.
But you skated into that tight area yourself. I didn't put you in there. You skated into that area.
And he's trying to get out of it, which he's allowed to do.
He did not try to get out.
Absolutely. He's on top of him. The goalie doesn't even get touched.
No effort to get out. He just stood there and tried to hold his ground, and he's
allowed to stand there and hold his ground.
But you can. But if you stop me from coming out, then you're impeding
The goalie's
me.
not entitled to the white ice. He's entitled to the blue ice.
No, he's entitled to come out and challenge.
He's not. But he's sure he is. But he's not allowed to be on the white ice claiming that's his too.
But if I never get a chance to go out to the white ice because you're in my blue paint, it's interference.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
It is.
That's absolutely not.
Well, then explain to me how I watched the Oilers play against Columbus, where Zach Hyman is barreling through the blue paint. He gets pushed in. He almost decapitates Elvis Merlikins. They shoot the puck in the net, and the ref standing right there is like, he got pushed.
Yeah, he got pushed in. He got
like,
pushed in, yeah.
And he was flying. He was going top speed. The difference is he was just barely there.
Yeah, and this is the first I've heard the idea that he wasn't called for the impeding during, like, after the DeMello thing. Because I don't even know that if there's contact there, it is a whisper. We're trying to have a hockey league here.
It's a whisper,
full of adults.
It's a whisper in the blue paint against a Vezina type goalie.
This is a zag for zag's sake. That's ridiculous.
It was awful.
Listen.
I was going to say, would you be saying this if it was the Leafs in the playoffs? I'm like, yes, you'd be saying it even more if it was the Leafs in the playoffs.
No, I tell you, listen, I'm with you. It's a tough call. It's a really tough call. And just to remind people that it goes back to a war room, right? It goes back to Toronto.
Yeah.
Like, there's 3-4 guys in there? Like, they're arguing too.
For sure.
They're sitting there going, that's a good goal, that's a bad goal.
Absolutely. There are people who made that decision who disagree with the final call, I'm sure.
So you know what happens when that happens?
They call him Gary?
No, they go back to the official.
Yes. Well, that's what happened here is the official made a bad call. They didn't want to overrule him, so they go, I guess.
The mandate from the general managers is if there's like splits.
Yeah.
You say yes, you say no, you say yes, you say no. Then you go back to the official with the original call.
SAWFT Saul.
And I will say this, one last thing. The officials, they don't like overturning themselves.
No,
well, of course. Okay. I mean, they don't want to. They don't want to prove that they're right.
That's for sure a huge part of it.
Looks bad.
That is for
I
sure.
get to decide my call. That's like Gary being the final arbitrator on a.
I will set the punishment, and then if you appeal, it'll go to me.
You think I'm going to make my? If you're all split, why am I not going to go with my original call?
Let me think about it. No.
Yeah, it turns out I'm right still.
And that's all that happened.
Yes.
Saturday night.
But hey, good for Willie for going there. I'm sure if you're Sheldon Keefe, you say we'll take that penalty you took there all day long.
How about old Bert? Just can't get off the schneid.
I feel bad.
Puck lands on his stick, right in the slot, shoots it in a wide open net. They're like,
not for you.
Not today, buddy.
I feel bad for Bertuzzi, who I thought was wonderful on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Weird way to describe a hockey player. He played very well.
Three games, 3 wins, 3 goals allowed, .960 save percentage. How'd you see him Saturday night?
He's back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
He's back.
Don't be one of those. He's back.
Like back to what?
Yeah. Like seriously.
Being okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, back to being okay. Listen, I'll give him, he made some big saves too.
He did.
He made some big saves Saturday night.
He makes a save on Kyle Connor when it's 1-1 late in the second period from the slot. Yeah. And you know what I liked is like he's deep in the crease. He comes out like he's not already overcommitted to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. He looks really good. He looks like he did last year.
There was a moment, and Simmer pointed it out on the broadcast, where after the first one goes in, he's like, it looked like Columbus Sammy for like 2 or 3 minutes.
I saw 2 or 3 incidences where I saw him swimming.
Oh, God.
Going way left on a couple occasions. And give him full credit again. He makes the saves that he needed to, but this one's going to be far before I ever utter the words.
He's back.
But the thing to me,
I don't even believe what I'm saying when I say it, but it's like, you're asking me what I saw. It's tough. He looked like Sammy.
I think there's 2 things. Like back, like he looked in these last 3 games better than he's ever looked for the Leafs.
This season.
No, I think like there's an argument to be said that he was better in these 3 or 4 games. How many?
Three good games here.
That he had looked at any point even last year.
I don't believe that for 1 second.
Yeah.
Close.
Was it 909 last year or 911?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a 960 save percentage through the 3 games.
No, he's had some fantastic saves. You want to tell me he's made some of the best saves since he's been a Leaf on a couple of...
Yes.
Yes.
But I mean, it feels like it's on a knife's edge. Like we talked about him being high maintenance and like them having to baby him and talk. Like this could easily go the other way immediately.
Right.
So I don't know. I'll give him credit, but I think he's back to being a capable NHL goalie. How about that?
Like the first goal he let in.
Hated it.
On the first shot.
Hated it.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, I didn't like it either. That was old Sammy.
Yeah.
Where it's like he can't find the puck and you didn't have your short side covered.
Yeah.
When you're cheating on that side, at the very least, cover off that post.
That post, yeah.
Right? And if it beats you on the far side, it beats you on the far side. But you can't give up anything short side when you are already there looking.
Not long after that, Lowry gets the chance coming in on a 2-on-1, and then Lowry picks Matthews' pocket as a breakaway.
No. Hold on. You're getting way ahead here.
Is that way ahead?
It's way ahead because I think the next shift and a half, Gio goes behind the net.
Oh, my God, falls.
And falls. And I think it was Liljegren who's waiting in the corner. And now it's Cole Perfetti with a 2-on-0 in front of the net with Velarde. Okay. Velarde delays and goes back to Cole Perfetti. If he just wires it, it's 2-0 on 2 shots on goal.
Oh, my God.
And you might even pull him.
You want to talk about the narrative?
Yeah.
You want to talk about a narrative there? It's like a different story
This
there.
is the Nice Edge episode.
2 guys are on the inches away from being out of the league.
What a great weekend. 2 careers saved by fortunate breaks.
Thank God it didn't turn out that way.
Yeah.
That's all.
Oh, my God.
Anyways, that's what I saw.
Well,
listen, we'll go to Sheldon.
So I listened to Samsonov talking about it. Him, his mom, his dad, his wife, and his kid are going to Mexico for the break. He talked about that.
Okay. Do we like that?
Go rest, Sammy.
Yeah.
Yes, go rest.
Get out of here.
You
Get
put the
out
work
of
in.
town, kid.
I mean, you've been doing went to an all-inclusive before you,
Sure have.
figured life out.
Yeah.
Resting.
It's different with your family. He's got a newborn and his mom and dad there.
I
It's
was
a
with
little
my family last Christmas, and I acted kind of the same as I usually do.
Your family might not, although his Russian family may also like the vodka. I don't know.
But did you hear Luke Fox talk on JD's podcast about his dad coming?
No.
Yeah, he had this really good answer about apparently during the week off, his father came over and really sat him down and had a conversation, like a man-to-man conversation about how you're like a father and you're a grown man.
Real men stop pucks, he said.
I mean, listen, I'm not ready to give credit to the 100 goalie coaches. I'm just giving credit to Sammy's dad. Got to figure it out.
Shout out to,
There you go.
senior. I don't know his name.
Whatever it takes.
Yes.
Right?
Let's hear what Sheldon Keefe had to say there. Clip 3 on old Samsonov.
Yeah, no question. He was tested a lot tonight. As much as I liked our game, I thought we gave up. We gave up more than what we've been giving up here in recent games. And he was really good again here tonight, just battling but looking confident. And again, the work that he's done here of late. Now going into the break, a chance now to take a breath and regroup and come back refreshed but confident. We're thrilled for him.
Okay, we're gonna go to break, but I just want to get your thoughts on just where this is heading for Samsonov and what we think is a Joseph Wall who may be still maybe a couple of weeks, but if Samsonov's starting game 1 in the playoffs, is it because of what he started now?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be because Joseph Wall came in and showed that he wasn't quite ready here? So where is this heading now for Samsonov, in your opinion?
Well, it's a great question, and it's one the Leafs will be trying to answer. I know the dream scenario is he goes full Stu Skinner, where he just irons out what happened at the start of the year and suddenly looks really good. If you flash back 3 months ago, we thought, and everyone thought, the plan was Samsonov is your starter, right? Wool will challenge him. Will it be 50-50? Will it be at 60-40? He was kind of the incumbent 1A. So, yeah, I think it's headed to finding out if he can put some sort of consistent run together. I don't know that you have a ton of time to find another goalie. It's almost like you're just trying to put them in a position to succeed and cross your fingers.
Don't you think that their ideal scenario is to be able to kind of lighten the load here on Wall when he comes back, have another guy be there to play, be good, and then get Wall back to full steam and have him start game one? To me, that feels like the ideal plan.
I agree. I know that one thing that they have had questions about Samsonov with is expectations and pressure, where they don't believe that he has thrived over his NHL career. Those will build again, and to make him the starting goalie game one is really tough to see right now. So the hope is that Wool's great.
It doesn't sound, from what we gathered, the last few days, that Joseph Wall's ready to come back the moment the All-Star weekend's over. Mm-hmm. So you got to assume between February 5th and maybe mid-February, that's 5 games right there, that Samsonov could have
3 starts?
4, maybe.
I bet he's going to start against the Islanders.
There's no back-to-backs, but it's every other night. February 5th, Islanders, 7th, Dallas, 10th, Ottawa, 13th. So there's 3 days in between 2 of those starts. I would think Samsonov has a chance to get 4 out of 5 there to build off of whatever we've seen so far. But eventually, Wall's going to get his chance to come back and see where he can pick up where he left off.
Has Samsonov earned the right to have a bad game yet? Like, how many times does he have to play well before you can say, well, all goalies, even great goalies, have bad nights?
Yeah, he comes back from Old Mexico Monday night and he lets in 5. It's like, well, I probably would mind see Martin Jones on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I think it's like I said,
still on a knife's edge.
For sure.
Just a slightly thicker knife.
Yeah. I think he needs 3 weeks, a month of playing well.
Can't have a bad game.
Well, I don't know what your interpretation of a bad game is.
Columbus.
Right?
Getting shelled.
Yeah, you can't give up 3 goals on 12 shots. Right?
Can you save that clip of what Kip just said?
You can't go,
because we're going to need that.
You can't go down 3 or 4-0. That's all. Yeah. That's a bad game. Not losing.
Have you noticed Andre Vasilevsky's playing really well again in this division, and Tampa's hot?
Well, no, I hadn't noticed that.
Vasilevsky.
Florida, Boston, and Tampa. Can they lose?
No one loses in this division. Leafs won both their games against the top team. Made up no ground.
If the season ended today, I would be perfectly fine with that. With the standings. Well, they'd be
wild card.
The 2 Florida teams are
eliminated,
beating the crap out of each other for 6 or 7 games, and the Leafs, they play in the Rangers. Not exactly a cup of tea.
Oh, you would take that in a heartbeat.
Oh my God!
Bring me the Rangers.
Any non-Atlantic Division team.
They have to match up better against Boston than they do Florida.
The Leafs?
I think so. Yeah.
No question.
I don't think Boston's. So you guys know how I feel about them.
So there's no reason now to win consistently.
Oh, yeah. That's always worked.
Is that what you're saying, Sammy?
Try to middle it. That always works.
It's helpful that the Islanders can't win a hockey match because they're the wild card team chasing.
Wow. Well, we'll get into that a little later.
It's actually a big game Monday now that I look at this.
It looks like there's a few teams that aren't interested in making the playoffs right now in the East.
No kidding.
Okay, we'll get into that and more. We're going to take a quick break here. Still plenty to talk about in our Leaf edition of the Real Kyper and Bourne Show, including Tavares. Is he back, boys? We'll get into that more when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. Who's in for Derek Brandeo?
Andrew Adams.
Andrew Adams.
Double A.
Pushing all the right buttons for us.
Welcome back.
Did we give Derek the day off?
No, but you guys also didn't give me the day off those Fridays. So.
It turns out we don't have that kind of authority.
Fair enough. Where do you want to pick up? We want to probably just go over a few of, I don't know, what do you call it, midterms?
I mean, we're at a break here. It seems like a good time to reflect a little bit on the first half, generous way to phrase it, first half of the Toronto Maple Leaf season. Run through the big dogs and see what we think?
Yeah, we can. Kind of left before we went to break talking about John Tavares breaking his goose egg on a power play goal Saturday night. You want to get Sheldon's thought of JT, and then we'll pick it up from there.
Sure.
John's been working real hard in games. He's been working diligently off the ice, but also just keeping things in perspective and not getting frustrated. Power play obviously needed a big response here today, and we got that. And John to come through for us, and in the way that we would expect that he might, and being in front and getting a stick on a puck. It's a huge goal for us, a huge moment in the game.
So his response kind of told everything you needed to know in terms of how much it was bothering him, because much like we felt good about Ryan Reaves or Samsonov's win since being called up from the Marlies, you felt for John and the relief just by the body language in itself.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever had any really long streaks of not scoring.
Once upon a time, I was a goal scorer. And when you don't score, it's like taking oxygen away from you.
It's brutal. My old teammate, Olivier Lebel, still makes fun of me for my celebration after breaking about a 19-game goalless drought. Like, it's brutal. And so I get the relief. I believe it was just a direct arm to the side. Looked skyward. No, it wasn't a dramatic one. It was more of a thank you, merciful God, sort of hockey gods sort of thing. Yeah. But so I get it. I get how he's.
The only thing moving forward here, and he's going to get a nice break, he's going to spend time with his family, his kids, is what do we see out of John Tavares going into the last half of this season here? And will he come back to his point of game pace? Will he look like a threat once again? And the power play goal was great. A goal's a goal. But if I'm not mistaken, he spent now a quarter of the season without an even strength goal.
I think it's half the season. I think he's 20 games without a 5-on-5 goal.
Really?
Yeah. It's a really long time.
It's a really long time. Yeah. Now, is that just where John's now at the stage of his career, or is this just...
Better hope not.
Well,
better hope not. I mean, this team is built on, 4 guys driving the offense. He's still creating a lot of shots. I would bet money on Tavares. In fact, I might bet money on him scoring, multiple goals over the next 5 games. Like, after the break, little time off, he's off the schneid. I could see him shooting a few in the net and kind of finding his stride a little bit again. I don't know that he's ever going to be back to driving the play. It was like a thing when I used to follow the Islanders that he would make wingers, made a star out of Pozo and Molson and
Josh Bailey
and Pajot and Bailey. He's not doing that anymore, but he can be on the other end of it for some pretty good players that they do have. So I think he'll still score some goals again. His point per game pace, by the way, he's at 35 points in 47 games now. So he's well. I know this.
He's on pace for 60 points this year.
Yeah.
Which it has to be really disappointing, right?
Sure.
At this stage when has to be the 1-2 punch with Austin.
If you had said at the start of his contract, though, to Leafs fans, what do you expect for output at the tail end of this deal? They'd have said, if he's still chipping in 60, 70 points, you can live with it because you're getting the upfront where he's going to be so great. I know people don't feel like maybe they got the value at the start of the deal that they'd hope some. Yeah. That hurts now, but
that's the problem, is that you're paying the quote unquote tax when you're still trying to win.
You didn't, yeah.
Right?
Right.
When you haven't gotten to where you thought you were going to get, you're still like, oh, well, we're paying the way more than we should be.
Yeah.
Like you're probably paying $3 to $4 million over value for him.
Saturday night, he's working his ass off.
Yeah.
And he's finishing checks. He's moving his feet, but it's just at that 5-on-5, it's just hasn't been enough to get him back to being a legitimate threat right now.
Yes. I was just trying to find that exact stat on how long it's been for you.
It's a long
22 games since he scored a 5-on-5 goal.
A long time. Yeah.
He's shooting 0 for 50 over that stretch.
We heard from Sheldon saying depth scoring. I'm not sure if you want to put Benoit and Reeves as, hey, good sign.
Yeah.
I think the depth needs to come from Nyes and Bertuzzi and
Bertuzzi's
Kemp.
Not depth.
Yeah, he's supposed to be core.
He's making the most of any forward outside the 4 guys. I don't think he's depth. can only have like
anyone past
Robertson's
the core
depth.
4 we're calling depth.
Okay. Robertson's depth.
Yeah.
Like those other Camp, Gregor, Reaves. That's depth.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time saying depth.
Depth. Stupid consonants in a row.
Broadcast.
Okay, so you want to start? You want to go first with where you think some of these guys are?
I want to stare at the top here. Brad Treliving. How would you judge his performance thus far?
Well, listen, I think all we're going to judge is on 4 signings, and for the most part,
so you're doing Reaves, Klingberg, Domi, Bertuzzi,
Martin Jones 5,
Benoit,
6,
Gregor,
7,
Lagesson.
The major ones have been disappointing, right? And for sure, you can grade him well on those smaller pickups in that depth role, but he's got to take a hit on Klingberg for me, which I never liked from absolutely day one.
Yeah, it's funny. You can go 5 for 5 on your depth signings, but when you miss on the ones you spent all the money on, the Bertuzzi, Klingberg, Domi money, his turn. Domi's been fine. He's been worth $3 million. But
I will say this too, is that we can sit there and judge and say that was horrible, but when you're in his shoes with limited resources and the choices that were out there, sometimes you think doing something is better than doing nothing at all.
Did you want Vlad Tarasenko for the Bertuzzi money? Would that have been better? Probably not. I
would definitely not want Tarasenko in that dressing room.
Right. So, I'm just thinking of guys who were $5 million and free agents this summer that you could have had. It's like, and Bertuzzi, even though he's not producing offensively, like a game like Saturday night is a good example where I found him really useful. I thought his line was very good, and he makes, little plays in the forecheck. And
Vlad Tarasenko, by the way, 32 points in 43 games plus 13 on the
Is he really?
Ottawa Senators.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Oh, someone's going to take him just for the
Tarasenko.
Yes.
At the deadline here.
Yes. Yeah, someone's going to take him. I need scoring that badly.
Yeah.
I mean, he's having a pretty good year. I'm surprised by these numbers.
I'm surprised anyone is plus on Ottawa.
Plus 13 is a pretty high number. Like, somebody's going to trade for him. And
only one guy is higher than that on the Leafs. Matthews is plus 14. He's the highest guy.
Yeah.
All right. Matthews scores his 40th goal.
Kaboom.
Fewest games the last 25 years. I will say this.
Okay.
For me, I'll be hard-pressed to find 2 worse games he's played as a Leaf than the last 2, where he scored game-winning goals in both.
Oh, yeah, because they scored at the end, so that turned out to be the winner. Yeah, it's true.
He was not very good Saturday night.
They turned the puck over a lot.
Hey, that 5-on-3 goal, and I'm fine. That's 100%.
It's okay. He's got an all-star weekend. He's got to sell T-shirts with Biebs.
Sure, all that.
Yes.
But when you're going up against the Leafs on a 5-on-3, and you're, all right, what are we taking away? You might want to start with the league's best goal scorer from the hash marks, ceiling scraping one-timer.
Yeah. That's my Vezina goalie who's making 8.5. Just try to stop it best you can.
Good luck,
I'm out of this.
You could add 2 bucks in there. That's going in.
Yeah.
He hit that so hard.
Yeah. What an awesome play by Marner, who gets a wobbling puck and one touch flattens it for him.
I know you make fun of me for this kind of stuff, and you'll be like, oh, yeah, regular season. I know what you're going to say. But, as Leaf fans, and people listening to this are obviously Leaf fans, we used to get excited when Phil Kessel would be like, oh, he's getting near. He's got 37 for the full season. It's not February. He's 40. Fellas.
I know.
It's ridiculous. And
it's great.
I know. And here we go. Here it comes.
I think it's great.
I think it's great.
But where you are with a bar and where I am with a bar is a little different.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're beating that bar way down for me, pal.
Matthews is Kip's gifted child in class, where it's like, I'm hard on you because I believe in you. I'm hard on you because I believe you can do so much more.
There's more to give besides pushing the puck over the red line.
I don't hold the other kids to the same standard as you because you're so special.
Yeah. He's the Baltimore quarterback. He's Lamar.
He's Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
Oof. That's
right?
scarily accurate.
But you're going to go up against a Patrick
Mahomes
in the playoffs.
The Panthers.
And how are you going to be?
It's a tough parallel.
Right?
Actually, there is a decent parallel to have where Tampa made it multiple years, where they beat the Leafs and they made it to the final. That was kind of like their last stand.
Yeah.
There's a parallel there that the Chiefs are the Lightning. I'll hear it.
So,
Anyways, I think it's
fantastic.
I think it's awesome.
He is the greatest goal scorer in the league, in the world right now. All of it.
Mm-hmm.
But is it driving the team to a place? Is he bringing enough around him? Is he making a lot of people around him better? Is he just making himself better?
There is an amount of goal scoring where all these other criticisms are like it's like Brad Treliving's fringe signings. He's scored 40 times in 46 games. He's doing stuff people haven't done in terms of producing goals in the history of the league. He's there with Ovechkin and Gretzky, with the greatest ever.
He's not doing it since the guy did last year. But before that, it was Pavel Murray.
He did
and
it.
Then it was
he
himself.
did it faster than the guy did it last year.
Yeah.
He did the fastest since, what'd you say?
Since McDavid.
In 25 years. Faster than McDavid last year. So, it's like, you could do some other fringe things great. This team without Matthews is Nashville.
Celebrini.
It's what he is doing with these goals. So if he had 30 goals and you're like, clean up the defense, fine. Marner, every goal Marner scored, he scored again that game, he'd be at Matthews' goal total. Every time. Double the goals. It's an insane amount of goals.
It is a legendary amount of goals.
Yes.
He will be one of the best all time, regardless if he wins anything. He'll be one of the best goal scorers of all time. And he plays for the Leafs.
Yeah,
and
but
no
we
Leaf
need him
fan
to
have
be
ever
one
had
of the
that.
best players of all time.
And I get that.
That's all.
And you're right. It's going to get to playoffs, and you're not going to want to see him score twice in 7 games.
Well, how many? What's McDavid on pace for?
120 points, probably.
Goals. We're talking about a 60-plus goal scorer last year.
We did this last show.
Yeah, what's his pace?
I have no idea.
30, 40.
30, 40?
Yeah.
This is the best his team has ever played around him since he joined the NHL. He's never felt better about his team, and he's on pace for 35 goals.
Yeah, maybe his team's better. He's on pace for 37
Maybe
goals,
he's made them better.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Maybe they were Sammys before, and now the Sammys bars have gotten a lot higher.
It would be fascinating to swap these two guys.
But look at
and
look
have
at McKinnon.
Matthews there with Draisaitl and Kane and Hyman and Nuge and
We'll give him an A.
Oh, yeah.
You better.
What else did you give him?
An A plus. I'm not giving him an A plus.
He scored 40 goals in 4
Yeah, I know. But he's on pace for 30 assists.
How about McKinnon? He scores every goal for his team.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
He has 84 points. It's in 49 games.
I know. He has like 15 points on McDavid at this point, doesn't he?
He's out of this world. Anyways.
He's out of this world. There's a guy that has, his bar is off. McDavid, Crosby, McKinnon, their bars are you're scared as an athlete, as a teammate. You're scared every day you're around them that your bar's not close enough to theirs.
I've watched a lot of Avalanche and McDavid this year, and Penguins, because I like watching those 3 guys. McKinnon's far and away the best this year. That's not even close.
No one has ever played hockey faster than Nate McKinnon is playing it this year.
Really?
He's 150 speed bursts faster than the next guy, over 20 miles per hour. It is unbelievable the pace he's playing at.
All right. Just like that, our first hour's over. Plenty more to come on our national hour, including some talk on Columbus. What is going on here, guys?
Lots of bad.
They're making the headlines constantly for all the wrong reasons. Aaron Portzline covers the Blue Jackets for The Athletic. Will join us next. Plenty more on Real Kyper and Bourne. Don't go away. Let's welcome everybody into the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. This is the national edition of our show. We are live on Sportsnet, Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver, and Sportsnet 960 in Calgary. This hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee for the next hour. It is NHL All-Star Week.
Yes.
So we're going to have
You excited?
We're going to have some great guests. I don't know who they are because Sammy's going to surprise us all week.
Yes. It's going to be McDavid and Bettman and No.
But in the
I've
meantime,
been told that I made those up.
But in the meantime, all week, send us a text at 590-590, questions, comments, whatever it is. Let us know. We're going to have a lot of room to get these things in the next week because it's quiet, right? A game tonight, a couple tomorrow night.
And they're not, I hate to say it, like they're not exactly world beaters.
Yeah, there's 6 games, I think, over the next 3 nights, and San Jose's in 2 of them. So that eliminates the intrigue.
It feels, to me, I guess they want to give, like, why did they pick these teams to play this late?
So you got Columbus, St. Louis tomorrow, Kraken, Sharks on Wednesday. That you have one good game, Ottawa, Detroit, and then there's Kings, Predators, Sharks, Ducks.
Like, was there any thought process? Like, I guess you want to give the Leafs the time off because they're going to be, like, did they pick the team that they thought was going to have more All-Stars on it? Like, it's very weird.
Not sure exactly.
We're going to welcome in Aaron Portzline in a few minutes to talk Columbus Blue Jackets because, I mean, it just seems like they're in the headlines all the time these days, but unfortunately it's not anything to do with on the ice. It seems to be what's around them off the ice. So we'll get Aaron in a couple of minutes. But just before we went on break, it paid me a high compliment that someone would be listening to our show and feel the need to pull over
to respond
to us.
Yes. I got to tell you how much we love that. Get involved. We
as
want
long
your
as they
opinion.
do it safely.
Pull
over safely.
Pull over, that's a key part. Don't
they had a problem with me?
Not everyone has agreed with your stance on that overturned goal. Yeah.
The overturned goal.
This one.
I'm getting hammered.
I wasn't going to say anything, but the text line is warm.
I'm getting hammered.
Wasn't going to say anything, Kippy, but people are pissed.
I think I surprised a lot of people for taking the goalie side on this.
Yeah. I think people assumed you'd be in favor of the guy.
Yes, running the crease.
Screening the goalie.
Yeah, running over.
Yeah. What was the tweet?
Yeah, he was just bowled him right over, Kep.
Yeah.
The pace was just breakneck. Quickly, should mention the Oilers, 16 straight.
Like to keep everybody on their toes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got to zag sometimes.
Yes. Now, are they excited for the break or are they like, no, please, let us just keep playing?
Honestly, they've been playing dogs. So I don't mean that to take away from the streak, but they've been playing like Columbus, Chicago, and like some games the Oil have looked okay, and they're getting their wins. That's a good team does that. They make other teams look kind of sad. So I think they're probably ready for a break here. Like, I don't think they've played spectacularly the last week, and they still get all their wins. So
their last, I'm just going back here. Like, they've beaten Sens, Blackhawks, Red Wings, Canadians, Maple Leafs, Kraken, Flames, Jackets, Blackhawks, Predators. Like, it hasn't been a murderer's. It hasn't been a murderer's row. Like, before that, they beat the Flyers, the Ducks, the Sharks, Kings. Like, it hasn't been a murderer's row.
Yeah.
But at the same time, doing it 16 times consecutively is incredibly impressive.
We know from covering the Leafs closely that's not a given.
But you come back from the break, there's the Monday games, and then the Tuesday they come back. They play in Las Vegas against the Golden Knights for a chance to tie the record.
How hot is that ticket?
That is an excellent game because the Golden Knights kind of own them, right? That's like kind of been their bitter rival and lost them in the playoffs.
Get over the hump, got to beat them.
The big one.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was going to say. So
it happens.
No one's watching.
No, it's
going to happen a lot. Should we welcome Aaron in?
Yes, that's better than me just mumbling.
Aaron Portzline covers the Columbus Blue Jackets for The Athletic. We've already had you on once again, man. You must be doing something right for us because we have no other explanation on the Columbus Blue Jacket season than you right now. How are you?
Yeah, I'm being called in to talk about the accident scene, the victim, describe the body as you found it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. That's where we're at right now again. Yeah.
Where do you start to really kind of, I don't know, put a priority on what is the biggest issue right now? We know Patrick Laine's leave of absence as well.
Yeah.
We know that there's young players that don't believe that they should be in the American Hockey League. Like,
right.
Aaron, where do you
Triage.
see where do you see where the attention deservedly goes?
Well, just look at this last almost 72 hours now. I mean, on the ice, they're up 4-1 in Vancouver, give up 3 power play goals in 5 minutes, literally 3 of them. And they end up losing that game in overtime, a recurring theme this year. Then they give up 2 power play goals. They give up 5 consecutive power play goals on 5 consecutive kills.
Wow.
A franchise record. So 2 tough losses, but they're kind of used to tough losses. Intertwined with all of this, as you mentioned, and not making light of this, Patrik Laine steps away from the team and into the NHLPA player assistance program. That is obviously something that the team is worried about, concerned about, way beyond his impact as a player. This is about Patrik Laine getting well. You've got, as you mentioned, a top prospect, defenseman David Jiricek, in the minor leagues and not happy about it, not happy with the way that he's been jerked around this year, told to get a place in November, get a place in Columbus. You're with us now. And 4 days later, sent to Cleveland to play some games.
Wow.
That's a mixed message. Made a healthy scratch for 3 games, then brought to Columbus to fly with them on their trip out west, sits in the press box for a game, and then flies back home, sent back to the American Hockey League. So he thinks he should be in the NHL. The Blue Jackets say he's not one of their 6 best and he's going to have to play. I'll let the 2 of them sort it out, but it's not a great relationship right now. And then last night, almost the topper to all of this, Adam Fantilli, one of their really bright young players, gets kicked in the back of his calf inadvertently by Jared McCann's left skate in Seattle, and basically hops off the ice. Now, I've been told it's unlikely he plays Tuesday in St. Louis. The fact that there's even any there maybe is good news, but the club has not said how serious the situation is. But to lose Adam Fantilli for any amount of time would be quite a hit for them, because the 19-year-old center has been very good. All of this is swirling. The Babcock stuff at the beginning of the year, all of the losses, the Elvis Merzlikins blow up a couple of weeks back. I mean, it's just, thankfully, not a lot of people are paying attention to their on-ice product, because that's been rather lousy too. But I think this is just way too loud for the way the Blue Jackets and their ownership like to do business. You just wonder what else is coming and when it might happen.
Well, and, several times throughout listening to the synopsis there, I wanted to ask a specific question about one of those things. But I just want to cut to the chase a little bit and just, talk about what's going to change. Because you can't be a team that is this bad for this long with this many off-ice issues, or the ownership that doesn't love it. Like, obviously, I'm asking about Kekalainen here. Is that something that's going to happen this season or after the year? Or?
Yeah. Well, it's a fair question. I mean, it's more than fair.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Imagine if this were Toronto.
I
don't know that it would reach to the almost 11-year mark for Jarmo Kekalainen before questions like this surface. It's clearly the most under stress that he's been on the job. Clearly the ripest for a change in that seat I think we've seen since he's been here. Again, 3rd longest tenured in the NHL. The one thing that's keeping a flicker of hope here, and I think there's still, even with all of the young players playing as well as they have, guys maybe some people haven't heard of yet but deserve to. Igor Chinakhov, I mentioned Fantilli, Kirill Marchenko. They have a group of young players here. Kent Johnson, of course, Dmitry Voronkov. These are all bright spots to this season, and you would think the future. But the question, I guess, with Columbus forever has been, can you keep it together? Can these relationships be kept healthy and happy? Look how many players have left here, and now we're coming up on a stretch where they've got to make some pretty, not decisions, but they've got to sign some really bright young pieces to contracts, and those have been kind of messy before. So can they keep all of this together? How long is this going to take? I mean, they're on a rebuilding plan, but sort of. I mean, when you sign Johnny Gaudreau, are you in a rebuilding plan? That seems to be a quick step forward. Laine, of course, is now an issue. So there's just a lot percolating here that they've got to deal with. That I think there's a lot of questions about where this might be headed.
We're talking to Aaron Portzline, who covers the Blue Jackets for The Athletic. Patrick Laine, was there any thoughts that he was struggling to the degree that he needed to step away, Aaron?
I mean, no indication of that. He's always been an interesting guy. He's always been really difficult on himself, really hard on himself, I should say. Absolutely slays himself in interviews after rough games, more than any player I can remember. But I don't know. I'm certainly not in a position to diagnose any of this. And we don't know what it is. It's up to Patrick, obviously, if he ever wants to divulge what that is. He seemed to indicate in an Instagram post that he's needing to get his mental health into a better place. So I'll certainly leave him at that and take his word for it.
Just one more thing on Patrick Laine and just the original trade that transpired with Winnipeg, and just the overall thought that you know when he's at his best, he's one of the best shooters, one of the best goal scorers, but you looked right from the get-go that he became a Columbus Blue Jacket, and you said, who's going to pass him the puck? What elite player are you going to put with Patrick? And has that ever come up in terms of conversations that you've had that, you're getting this great goal scorer, but I mean, he's not a good fit right now for this team.
You're right. And they were at a point that trade was not made because they wanted to move Pierre-Luc Dubois. They wanted to keep Pierre-Luc Dubois. But if you remember how ugly that got, I'm of a mind, and I think there are people within the Blue Jackets who believe to this day that they should have said to to PL Dubois, no, we're not trading you. Sit the hell down as long as you need to get your act together again and be ready to play. But they felt like that was a house on fire and had to deal with it. They got the best deal that they could. I guess you could even look back on that and surmise that Winnipeg had a house on fire with their young player and were ready to move him as well. I don't think we've ever seen Patrick Laine at his best here. To your point, Kyper, no, he's not had the centerman. He's not had the setup men. He's not had the other forwards to take any heat away from him, to give him open shooting lanes on the ice. Starting last year, they had Johnny Gaudreau here, and they've tried those two on a line. I can't tell you how many times, and it does not work.
Yeah.
It's oil and water. And one of them has to move to the right side to facilitate that, to be on the same power play. One of them can't be in their preferred spot, the left hash. So it's not ideal in any way. Patrick was almost a point a game guy last year, but he hasn't been anywhere near the electrifying player he was early in his career with Winnipeg.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's within him. He knows it's within him. And so you can understand how that frustration would boil over. And, yeah, wishing him the best. He hopefully, can get back to the guy we've seen him be before. When I think of all these things that you sort of laid out for us, the ones that feel that the GM would be most responsible for is this Jiricek one, where, this seems like their own doing. A player is frustrated, doesn't understand, doesn't feel like they're getting the opportunity. And I read the Jiricek quotes where he compared himself to, is it Simone Nemec and another young player who are getting
Korchinski in Chicago.
Korchinski. They're getting the opportunity and he isn't. Is that fair that he's comparing himself to those guys at this point?
Well, I think it is. And I think the other part of that comparison is, where are these teams in the standings? Certainly Korchinski is probably a better comparison. Like, what is this season about at this point? And I think this is the fans' frustration too. It's like, they just played a game in Edmonton and Connor McDavid is there and Adam Fantilli goes through the entire game playing on the left wing without taking any faceoffs in that game. And to me, I'm saying that is such a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Right there. These games don't matter now from a win-loss perspective. How can you maximize the importance of these games? What can you get out of these games to use these to your best benefit? David Jiricek was a healthy scratch in that game, sat in the press box in Edmonton. So now next time they play Edmonton, it will be the first time David Jiricek understands, if he's in that game, understands the gap you have to take. I hear defensemen talk about this all the time with McDavid. It's just different to be on the ice with him. And now he still doesn't know. Now Adam Fantilli's gone through that game. Maybe they'll play against him in March when the Oilers are in Nationwide. But it just feels like a wasted opportunity. And there's been so many games like this where nothing against Adam or Andrew Peak, nothing against Jake Bean, but you know who those guys are. And Jiricek is the future of this franchise, not Bean, not Peak. I mean, they could stick around for a few years. Again, nothing against them. But this is your top dog. I don't have a problem, honestly, if they would have made the decision at the start of the season, he's going to play in the AHL. But from a managerial standpoint, it makes no sense to play him that 10th game, as they did pretty early, engage the first year of his contract. And it makes zero sense. It almost seems like you're messing with the guy to tell him to get a place. He has an apartment sitting empty in Columbus now, while he's living in a hotel in Cleveland. To tell a player to get a place, that's such a big moment in a young player's career. That says you've made it. And I know teams typically don't have that conversation until it is abundantly clear that the player is going to stick. To say that, to tell that player that, and then boom, back to the AHL, it feels a lot herky-jerky, and I think the Jiricek camp has taken some of it personally, and I'm not sure why that would be.
Aaron, as soon as we get through All-Star Weekend, these GMs are going to be on the clock when it comes to the trade deadline. Is there a sense that Jarmo has the green light from ownership to do what's necessary moving forward? Will they pull the reins in on him? Does he have the freedom now to continue? Or is this just something that we all believe will get reassessed in the offseason?
Yeah, well, I think one of the tough questions with a move like this is, do you let them have the trade deadline if you're going to fire them as soon as the season's over? Like, how toxic is this direction? How little faith do you have in that person to do the right thing? If you look at their roster, the only prominent UFA is Jack Roslovic. Not a big return there. He's going to get traded if they can find a taker. The other two big ones, Laine now would appear off the table. That's not likely to happen. But that's a player who, because of all the young players pushing up into the lineup, it would have made a lot of sense to move him at the trade deadline. I think Merzlikins is untradeable, as much for his on-ice play as for his reputation across the league. And I think the other sort of veteran player who has a contract beyond this year, who could be a consideration, is Ivan Provorov, with the emergence of Denton Mateychuk, who could be here as soon as Moose Jaw's season ends, will be here probably for the start of next season. So they could be fairly aggressive, but we're talking Provorov as a possibility, Roslovic as a likelihood. I'm not sure those are big enough moves to feel there's an urgency to make a change in that spot before the end of the season. But it depends on what ownership is thinking. And they don't like to share their thoughts with us very often.
Okay, so let's eliminate them and make you the owner right now.
Yes.
What do you do in June? And
one of the great benefits of an awful season like this is you've got quite a ramp up to consider things, don't you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to the end of the season and make the call. So by now, if I'm ownership or if I'm John Davidson, I would want to have a name in mind. This is who my next GM is going to be. And the question is, can I get them now? Are they currently employed with the team? Most of those guys you could not get out at this time of season for obvious reasons. If I can't get my guy until after the season, and I feel like it's gotten toxic with Jiricek, then maybe I do make that move and let Chris Clark, a very highly respected former player, former captain of the Capitals, former Blue Jacket himself, has been an assistant GM here for a few years. I don't think he's a permanent solution just yet, but he seems a steady hand who could absolutely carry the reins for a short time. But again, those are decisions to be made by.
What do you think they need? Do they need the experience of somebody that's been around just to settle this thing down? Could you bring in Rick Nash and give him more responsibility, or potentially groom him?
Well, I don't think Rick Nash wants to be a GM. I think he has his eyes more ultimately on the president's chair. For me, this is why I employ John Davidson if I'm the owner of the Blue Jackets. That is, as trusted a person as you'll find in hockey. He's had an incredible career. He may be ready to retire. For me, his last job with the Blue Jackets would be to find me a new GM and settle off into the sunset together. I think this job needs a veteran GM for sure, one who understands culture, obviously has an ability to do the other things, but understands the culture of the place, and is a people person, because that's what's been needed here for a while.
Aaron, great stuff, man. Really appreciate your time and shedding some light on the situation in Columbus. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
Aaron Portzline from The Athletic.
Yeah, once in a while, you got to look into a team that we don't, see a lot or whatever, because a lot's going wrong, Kev.
Yeah. Is that the longest tenured guy?
He's the third longest tenured GM.
He said closing in on 11.
11 years.
Yeah.
If you are in last and you've been the GM, you can't claim you're rebuilding it. You've got it where it is. Why do I think you're the guy to get it out?
And we wish Patrick Laine the best, of course.
Absolutely.
And I'm not here to tell you that what I know what's going on with him, but I can tell you for sure this is a guy that's lacked confidence now for a long time here.
Yeah.
And he's very good at what he does. And at one point on a trajectory, just like Austin it was or is.
Yeah.
I saw a highlight reel from his rookie year on TikTok yesterday, and it was like he's breathtaking player.
Yeah.
Like not the speed,
6'5",
obviously, but just
six as long as this
rangy,
table.
that snapper, confident. Like, it's crazy how quickly.
He's 25.
Yeah.
25, and he was
25
on pace for one of the youngest goal scorers, out of the gate.
His first 2 years, he scored 80 goals.
Yeah.
Over those 2 years.
His numbers were off the charts.
36 and 44 his first 2 years.
Remember the hype too. It was Austin and Patrick.
Yeah.
Going head to head.
Yeah, I'll never forget that game. The Leafs were up 4-0. They blew it, and Laine scored the overtime winner.
And so I guess, I don't think you can write this kid off.
No.
He's such a talent. He's so young. You get him right. I mean, I don't know if he's happy in Columbus, if he would like a fresh start somewhere else. That's totally my words. If I were another GM in the league, but I would certainly love to talk to them and be like, is there a chance we can be the team to try again with this guy? Because he got in the right spot with his head right. Obviously, what a special player.
Yeah, I don't anticipate him being even available.
Not this year.
Not this year.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right that you'd be crazy to write him off as long as he feels good again and he can get the help that he needs.
Yeah.
We are still talking about one of the best pure shooters in the game.
Yeah. He makes 8.7 this year and then 2 more on that deal.
At 8.7?
At 8.7.
Really? I didn't know it was that high. I think he kind of brought up one of the more fascinating things with sports is that when you're bad and it's like time to sell things off, but the reason you're bad is the general manager that's in place.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not the only reason, clearly, but like it's such
you
a
want that
delicate
person to
balance.
make your decisions.
Like, I even felt that last year with Dubas at the deadline when it was, are we sure Dubas is the one to make these decisions? He's got no contract.
And if he is the one, then extend him.
Yes.
Either you kind of got to make that decision before you let them make the decision.
In retrospect, he kind of burned the boats.
He sure did, kind of.
No, he burned the boats, right? So it's like, looking back on that, everyone just assumed he was going to sign.
I think he assumed he was going to sign. I think Shanny assumed he was going to sign. I think they did till 2 days before he didn't.
It all came down to a fateful press conference, boys.
All right, what are we doing? Game time?
Yeah, let's do game time. It's game time, presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Now, I just don't usually do this because I always lose. But maybe I should just get outside of hockey to start winning some bets. I did this weekend a parlay between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions. And you may be asking yourself, but Sam,
the Lions lost.
Oh, they did. But Bet365 has a feature where if one team in football, I'm not sure what it is exactly in hockey. I think it may be three goals. It's 3 goals in hockey. But in football, it's 17 points. So if your team that you bet on goes up 17 points, you get an early payout. Bet. So I won a bet on a 2-team parlay where one of the teams lost. So
Bet 365. Great job.
There you go. So I was really surprised by that. It was really nice, and I went and played hockey.
What was the 10, like 5-1?
It was 10-1.
It was 10-1.
10-1.
That's a nice parlay.
So it's funny because I went on the ice at halftime. Like I watched the game. I went to a rink in my neighborhood, got off the ice, and looked at my phone. I was like, "Oh my god, what the hell happened?" So yeah,
Helly.
So we're at not the halfway mark here, but I'm just looking at some of the futures here. Who do you guys think is the favorite for the MVP?
Is it McKinnon now?
Kyper?
I think Nate's probably running away with it.
Pull it up here. I had it. I think you guys are probably right. He is a minus 130 favorite to win the Hart Trophy now. So Nikita Kucherov's next at plus 300. Connor McDavid at plus 400. Austin Matthews is the next closest at plus 1,400. So they believe that those three guys are the only ones who could win it. I mean, plus 14.
How many assists for Nate McKinnon?
A lot. He's got
50.
He's got 53 assists and 31 goals and 84 points in 49
Nice balance. Nice balance.
Find someone who loves passing like Kyper loves passing. And the other one I wanted to check in on, the Jack Adams Award. The two favorites are Rick Tocchet at plus 110, so pretty heavy favorite. Rick Bowness 4-1, and then it jumps up to Chris Knobloch at 10-1.
Yeah, well,
buddy, if all you do is win.
But what's the precedent?
I actually don't hate betting on him.
What's the precedence for a guy taking over in November and winning Coach of the Year? Has that happened?
I think it has.
I'm trying to think back.
I think I don't know who, but I think someone's come in late to a race and won it.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I just don't know who.
So that might not be the worst bet.
Can I go back to football? Is it just a foregone conclusion the Lions coach comes back next year?
Gotta be.
Yeah.
I actually loved what he said after the game.
See, I hated it.
Yeah?
What did he say? I didn't see it.
He said, I wouldn't change my mind.
Oh, no.
I didn't like that part.
I was referring.
I think he was a little too quick to double down on his decision.
I agree with you on that. You should show some introspection and reevaluate when things don't work.
There's no growth if you just say,
I was right.
I was right.
Yeah.
And I do it again.
So I was referring to, he told his team, that may be it for us. Like, we may not get back here.
Another dumb thing to say.
I liked the idea that he framed it as, we're going to have to work twice as hard to get back here. It's not like a given a good team gets back.
So not only are your fans crushed about this year, now they're crushed next year too.
Yeah, we have made it.
You double crushed them.
To me, that's a message to the team that, like, we're not going to go home and celebrate this year as a victory. You put in some work this offseason.
So,
the early line for the Super Bowl is plus 105 for the Chiefs are underdogs. In my opinion,
smash it.
Anytime you can get maybe the greatest quarterback of all time as a favorite, as an underdog, you probably do it. I did it this weekend. It's like watching that game. Anyone who bet on Lamar as a favorite, I'm sorry. That was just dumb. It was. It's Patrick Mahomes.
See? And Taylor Swift.
The one thing you did say today that I do not agree with you, and that was when it comes to Detroit and Campbell, is that, well, it worked all regular season. Just stick with it. No.
Well, that's your identity.
Playoffs, buddy.
That's your identity. That's how you got there.
Playoffs. Different beast.
Mm-hmm.
New lessons, new strategy. We've got to win one game. This isn't something you build on. You have to think differently for every moment. There is no tomorrow. So could the ownership in Detroit say, yeah, you can get us this far, but to go to the next level now to win these games, we need, I don't know, Belichick?
No way.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Like the culture shift that came with Dan Campbell, like they have completely changed the franchise.
I know they have.
Detroiters are like proud to like follow this man.
He was on the 0-16 team. He's like the whole thing.
I can be sold on giving him one more chance.
Yeah.
That's all.
But I will say, my thoughtful, well-rounded friend, I agree that they, different circumstances call for different thinking.
Yes.
And just because you hammered her home all year long.
And there's some guys that can coach in the regular season, but they can't coach in the playoffs.
Yeah. And you look at who's in the Super Bowl, it's like
who's he talking?
A lot of the same guys are usually in the Super Bowl. Like Andy Reid seems to be there a lot. Kyle Shanahan seems to be near there a lot. Like it's always the Belichick was there a lot. That's what's crazy. The Chiefs have just turned into the Patriots.
Yeah.
They just win games. They're not supposed. Anyways, that's enough football for today.
Kind of wish that Mahomes had beat Brady in their one of the battles.
And if
the numbers would look different. And
D Ford wasn't offside, they would have beat him in the AFC Championship game in 2019 or 2018. So there you go. Anyways, that was Game Time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
Okay, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get into our news and notes, including the Ottawa Senators. Elliot had his second intermission, dropped the name Chris Tanev on the Ottawa Senators.
What?
We'll talk about that.
I says pardon.
We'll talk about Brock Besser, 30-goal scorer.
Sorry.
The what?
The Champ? You ever heard the Champ cartoon? The audio?
No, the movie with that little Ricky Snyder or whatever.
Nah, this is a different
Don't you
thing.
remember? He's probably like 58 now.
What?
Ricky.
You can ignore
There's a
Kip
movie
and I.
called The
Kip and I
Champ.
are on two bad tangents at the same time.
old guys,
You
let's hit
weren't
the
even
break.
the movie I'm talking about. You weren't even born. I guarantee you.
Old farts. Time to break.
All right, you heard the man. Back after these words. Welcome back into the Real Kyper and Bourne show. Guys, on the weekend, we learned that former Ottawa Senator forward Alex Formington turned himself into the London police. 5 players were told last week by London Police Services to surrender in connection with allegations of a sexual assault in June 2018 on a woman by members of the 2018 Canadian World Junior Hockey Team. I mean, I don't know what else we can add to this without knowing definitively what the next steps are. It's not us avoiding it. It's not us, trying to, bury things under that you often get accused of doing. We just don't know where this story's going, except that we anticipate 4 other guys between now and maybe February 5th.
Yeah.
When there's a, London Police will hold a press conference.
Right. And just not comfortable discussing or speculating, just not, we're not able to. It's not, this is not a place where you're allowed to sit up here and go, here's maybe what happened or what might happen.
Yeah.
We're just letting it play out like everyone else.
Extremely serious matter. There's no speculation at this time for it. So, but so there's one of 4, or one of 5, I guess, that have turned themselves into
waiting
place.
for that. Yeah.
Outside of that, the Ottawa Senators looked like they were in decent shape against the New York Rangers on the weekend.
Went up 2.
Except giving up the next 7 goals.
Oh my God.
God, I'm still out here just believing in the Senators team, and it's nonsense.
We get to watch them tonight, buddy. Aren't you
I
excited?
know. I am going to. I actually, I bet on them tonight.
The one that blew me away was the face-off where Kreider just skated into it and let this 50-foot wrist shot go far side.
Yeah.
I'm like,
you just can't win games if you don't get a save. You just can't. Can't even play. You don't trust anyone.
No.
You don't trust that
no.
you can take an extra second with the puck.
You can't play hockey.
It was supposed to be better with Corpusalo. It was supposed to be, we're going to give you $20 million and we're going to get decent goaltending and we're ready to compete.
Yeah, what's league average? 903. Teams will play $5 million for a 903 in a heartbeat. Just give me a 903. Give us a chance.
He's not that.
Not at 903.
Is he? So it doesn't matter how bad he is.
He's 886.
Ooh.
It won't matter how bad he is between now and the end of the season. He's going to get a chance to go home, work out,
try
get his
this again,
mind and body ready, and then try this thing again. And then fork in the road time for him. He's either Jack Campbell on waivers or he's going to be the number 1 goalie for the Ottawa Senators next November.
As we did the bit on Ilya Samsonov in the first half, where it's like, the first half of the show, where it's like, come out and play really well and play in the NHL, or don't and don't.
But
go ahead.
I was just going to say that, but this is a team that just experienced that with Matt Murray the last year and a half prior.
Well, I guess, did you look at the Corpusalo and go, good bet? A good,
I did not.
You did not. You were definitively against it.
Yes.
So where is someone in that organization going, maybe not, maybe this isn't our guy? Why do we think he's our guy?
We don't often get, you just said Ottawa, and I was looking at the text line. We don't often get texts that on a Friday don't, get me here, but What is a worse trade from last summer? Is it Penn's Erik Karlsson or the Kings' Pierre-Luc Dubois?
Was Karlsson been that bad? I think he's been okay at times for them. Dubois, what has he given them? Nothing.
The Kings are 8.
The Penn's power play is the worst in the league.
The Kings are 2-8
there.
in 6.
Yeah.
The last 16 after going 27-4 to start. Like, they are now like threatening their whole season.
I can't believe the Penguins' power play is 13%.
Yeah, is it the worst?
31st. Chicago's worst.
Listen, the Penguins are not going to miss the playoffs.
No.
And that's because everybody else just doesn't want it.
Sid's on. He's just unbelievable. He's willing that team to victory every night.
The Penguins are, they're outside looking in right now, nipping at the heels of Detroit in terms of winning percentage. I think they'll get into.
They can't miss it. They can't, really. No. Who's better?
Pittsburgh's. They've got too many good players. It's like looking at Edmonton earlier in the year. It's like they have too many good players to be bad.
So
to answer the clip?
Answer the question.
Yeah.
You think it's Pierre-Luc Dubois? Yeah.
Did you tweet the clip of Pittsburgh's power play at the top, the way they were passing it back and forth? I don't know if you saw this clip.
But was it against the Panthers? Because I watched that game in its entirety, and their power play, they had 8 chances. They scored once, and they had 3 scoring chances the entire time.
It was horrible. Just Erik Karlsson doing the Gretzky shuffle across the blue line. No one moving the puck. No one's like, God, it's tough to watch.
Yeah, it goes up to him. He stands there, tries to blast one through.
Malkin shoots him from the half wall.
Shoots it over to Malkin.
Yeah.
Not good. I think the Leafs is bad.
Not good.
Anyways.
And I'm not here to suggest that Todd McClellan's job in LA is in jeopardy.
Well, you don't have to suggest it. People are.
But I will say this is conversations, like you're not, during this All-Star break in LA, you're not avoiding the internal conversation there that is this a coaching issue?
Yeah.
Is something not right here?
Mm-hmm.
Like that conversation is going on right now in LA.
I think the hard part is that this team was pretty garbage. He hung in there. He's actually been there a long time. I think he's one of the, 6th, 7th, 8th longest tenured guys in the league at this point. But he rode through the garbage with them, Kip, the bad years to get it going here, and he's helped it get going in this direction. I'm not sure it's fair entirely to say you've taken it from here to here, and now that it won't go farther, you don't get any time to try. So, I don't know.
He got fired after 20 games in Edmonton in 18-19, and then he took over the Kings job in 19-20. So he's in his 4th season or 5th season. So there you go.
Buddy, the turnover with coaches, that's way up there.
This is a team that cannot miss the playoffs. I mean, that's what Dubois was all about here. Next level stuff.
Yeah, they were really, but then they gave him a massive contract.
Only 4 coaches have been with their team longer than McClellan right now.
Anyways,
Brindamore, Bednar, Sullivan, Cooper. Yeah, for sure it is. By the way, Keefe is right there with
I mentioned Saturday, Elliot, in the second intermission, I saw him link Chris Tanev to Ottawa, which, his sources are impeccable. I don't doubt him for 1 second.
Right.
But I'm asking why?
What is happening?
Why?
Well, could this be in the fantasy land version of what I'm talking about? Like the Canucks in Hronik, where you say they got a guy when it didn't seem to make sense, but then he was there with them the next year and it really just worked.
When did they
I don't mind that.
Did I sell anyone?
When did they get Hronik? When did they?
Mid last season. Or at the deadline last year. They traded a first.
Hronik was 24 when they got him.
But he was
not.
But Hronik wasn't on his way to becoming an unrestricted free agent.
RFA?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was RFA.
Yeah.
But you're going to miss the playoffs in Ottawa. So why not just wait for him in the off season? Why are you now giving the impression that you may go after him now?
I guess you're worried someone else is going to get him at the deadline and sign him.
But you can always overpay.
Yeah, not if they get him first.
I would think at this point there's some protection in Chris Tanev's contract, i.e. a 10-team, 12-team, 5-team. Does he want to get traded to Ottawa in the next few months to miss the playoffs in what is still considered prime years.
I think he lives in the beaches. I think he'd be happy to be back in Ontario.
I saw him on After Hours with Scott Oak and Francis talking about Square Boy burgers.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's like, I mean,
That's right near here.
He wants to play in the spring.
Yeah.
Go to Ottawa and you're done.
This year, yeah.
This year.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. It sounds like a crazy idea. But yeah, if Ottawa wants to trade for a guy for next year's purposes, Tanev's probably not.
I will say I was at
youthful enough.
an establishment that serves alcohol on Saturday after Leafs talk, and I was watching the thrilling Blackhawks and Flames game. 1-0 win for the Blackhawks. But then after that, they had Chris Tanev on After Hours, and I couldn't have. There's no sound on. And I'm like, that guy just. Get him on the Leafs. Like the look on his teeth, his hair. I'm like, that guy looks like he's in Shoresy. Get him on the Leafs.
That's
he's
the
a
Cape
warrior.
for me. Who looks like an old
He's
time.
a warrior.
Yeah.
Anyways,
What would you pay him?
What would
Because
I pay him?
he's a free
You want
agent
to give him
and he
TJ
wants
Brody's money?
he wants a new contract.
I think
He's 33.
Yeah. The prudent thing for me with him is you look at it like, are you really going to spend the whatever it takes? Probably be a first. There's a ton of teams that want him. It's going to be a first-round pick to get him, don't you think?
Yes.
Yeah, God, the deadline, yeah.
So then do you want to spend that first when you're not necessarily sure that this is the team and you can maybe get him in the offseason for money?
You would have to know that he was going to sign with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that would be minimum $5 million times 3. 3. Maybe 4.
How about 4
3.
times 3?
That's my negotiating.
How does not that sound?
Hey,
I love his
he's
game.
well,
Me too.
and he's a great guy, and he's got this reputation for being a leader. And you just listen to Calgary talk about him, and that's a hole
So
that you can't easily fill.
It's funny when you look at last year's deadline for the Leafs and like getting a guy like Ryan O'Reilly and Luke Shen, who just like were great guys and workers and did their job and like really kept things moving in a positive winning direction. There's not a ton of guys where you know they have those qualities. Tanev seems to be one of them.
Just got another text that's relevant to our conversation. Always leaving the Canucks till the end of the show with short mention, and they are the best team in the league.
Yes,
they are the best team in the league.
They haven't struggled lately with their wins. They're winning. But they're not their best wins.
71 points in 49 games, 33, 11, and 5, 724 winning
I'd
percentage.
just like to clarify for everyone out there, there's not some mandate we touch on all 7 Canadian teams in every show. So
we do a pretty good job
we,
at times.
we tend to respond better to teams where their hair's on fire.
Right, that's far more.
Not winning.
We've actually said this about
boring.
Yeah, we're like, look at this
Winning
successful
is
team.
boring
They should
for
continue
us.
to do those things. we had a guy on to talk Columbus today.
The Canucks are they are so good.
So good.
So good. And what's his name got fined there, didn't he? The Chaos Giraffe. Yeah, for the elbow.
Yeah.
The Chaos
Giraffe. Yeah.
That's a great handle.
Yeah, I've seen
really
that a
works.
little bit. Yeah, he flies around out there.
I will say, if you're a Canucks fan, I would say be hesitant about labeling your team the best team in the league or the favorite, because that's just extra pressure.
Yeah.
Coaches vie for the right to be the underdog in playoffs.
Okay,
yeah, Cooper and Keefe got in a
Like,
dog.
oh, Tampa Bay. We're awful. Have you seen us?
Okay.
We're a joke.
So if we're gonna talk Canucks, let's talk about their lineup. They have to still move some money out to bring something of significance in. So people are talking about Gensel, Jake Gensel. Okay, for I don't see for 1 second right now Kyle Dubas trading Gensel.
Can't.
Isn't Gensel just break
you just can't do it.
Right?
Rock best.
So
aren't they the same guy?
That's not the guy. But where do you move money out? Because
they don't like
Garland was, hey, go cut your own deal. We're exhausted trying to trade you.
He's good.
And now he's coming in as arguably one of the best third line players in the league.
You know where you lead me. It's Kuzmenko. Talk doesn't love him.
Kuzmenko. They
Talk
got to
doesn't love him.
move Kuzmenko's 5.5 out.
Hugh Suter is taking on those minutes and that opportunity, and he's thriving.
Which you should be able to push.
How old's Kuzmenko?
Kuzmenko's 27.
Hey, Ottawa, you spending money before the deadline?
The other one, I mentioned in my article last week was Kaliev in L.A. They got to LA's got to trade him if they're not going to use him.
And he's 22, 3,
5 maybe
25,
24, 25.
Yeah, okay.
Just looking at Vancouver, not a lot of Canadians on the Canucks.
No, actually,
No,
zero Canadian forwards.
Yeah, I'm just looking
If I'm
through.
not
I don't
mistaken.
think Blueger's Canadian. No, they're all American.
Literally no
Americans,
Canadian forwards.
Russian, Sweden. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I really don't care. It's just like
Just an observation.
looking at that. That's rare. It's extremely rare. So maybe that's the key. Get rid of all your Canadians and you'll win.
So
You heard it here first.
Last week we talked a lot about Rick Tocchet and Petey, and did we make it a bigger story than it actually was in Vancouver, Sammy?
Could have been nice.
What do we do?
Could have been nice.
Okay.
I mean, I like that we made it a big story because they make a big story out of everything Toronto does. So it's nice to have it be
See, I
reversed.
just assume it was a big story out there. That's why you brought it up.
Did Todd call you?
No, nobody. What are they going to say?
Did Jimmy Rutherford call you?
Nobody.
He said, Kipper, come on, bro. We've been friends for
Aquilini
100
call you?
years.
Well, if he did, I just say, yeah, it's our producer, Sammy McKee. Okay.
I didn't want to say anything.
Listen, I know I've been in this business a long time. I don't know how to sensationalize. Like they were built this way, these kids.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We grew up doing.
Another text from Hooger. Can we get Sam and Kipper to switch positions for a day? I want to see Kipper produce this since he is on Sammy all the time.
Fascinating
So
suggestion.
here's what I'll say, Hooger.
But it won't
Kipper
go
is a
well
good
for Sammy.
Kipper's a good producer.
I was gonna say, Kipper
will
do
be
a great job.
He'll have Gretzky on and he'll start calling him the favorites to make me look bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A one-show Kipper produced show
We don't
would
want
be
that.
our
I'm just
be a
helping
Hall of
you.
Fame
I'm
show.
just helping you.
Yeah.
We got to nail somebody fun this week, though.
Who do you think who you after? It's in Toronto. You got to get one of your Toronto buddies.
Yeah, we got to get somebody.
You know who we had that was good
who
last year? Cujo was good.
Cujo. Yeah.
Can you track
who
Cujo
are the
for us?
captains in the All-Star game?
Bieber,
Bieber,
Michael Bublé,
Yeah.
Bublé,
Tate something or other. McRae.
Oh, Tate McRae.
I don't know.
Tate,
Should be a good interview.
Okay.
and Will.
Yes,
Oh,
Will
Will
Arnett.
Forte.
Can we
Oh,
get
Will
Will
Forte.
Arnett?
Why did I say
Can
Will
we
Forte?
get Will Arnett?
Will Arnett, I absolutely love. I would love to get him on the show.
Okay.
That would be
Sammy,
Yeah, sure.
get to work.
Yeah, sure. Daniele, what are you up to, buddy?
Yeah, someone send a text, will you?
Get Disco Dan on it. He's the real brains of this operation.
And just a note.
Yep.
This Friday, where are we, Sammy?
We're
Metro?
at the Metro Convention Center, I think, for the Fan Fest.
Fan Fest from
Yeah.
4 to 6.
Yes, sir.
And I will have a couple of hats, Real Kipper and Bourne hats, and Sammy too.
We'll get a T-shirt
Hats.
gun.
Don't have the gun, but we'll give away a couple of hats.
My son may be stopping by too.
Oh, how
I'm gonna
exciting.
Get him on the mic for a minute. I'm kidding. He's not going to say anything.
How exciting.
No, he's hosting.
He wouldn't do much worse than I do.
I'm going to start the party,
You guys
the
wanna
weekend party.
You guys want to hear about Roblox?
Yeah, or Roblox.
Oh,
Roblox. Yeah. That's how you know you don't have kids. Right
Yes.
There, yeah.
There you go.
Okay, well, sorry I missed that.
It's
it's
a
okay.
game you should have invested in a year ago. Roblox.
Oh, it's very
Is
popular.
that like Cabbage Patch Dolls?
It's exactly like Cabbage Patch Dolls. You nailed it.
Pokemon.
Yeah.
One of those things that's worth $1 billion right now.
Yeah, you got it, Dad.
It's always everybody but us
I know.
inventing that stuff.
Believe me, I know.
Okay, Aaron Portzline, thank you for your time today. Good job, guys. Not bad for
thanks.
Monday.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about tomorrow?
Ottawa, Nashville.
We're just going to repeat this show, and
Okay.
we're going to go and hang out for lunch.
Look for Cujo and Will Arnett.
Like Roger
Thanks for
LeBlanc said.
joining us, everybody. If you get a chance, give us a rating and review. We'd love to hear from you. Back tomorrow.